So would you like to meet my dollies? What's that? Oh, yes, you would. Okay, let's get straight into the video. So hello and welcome back to the world of Craig. I hope that you guys are all doing well. It's getting slightly chilly here in London. There's a strong autumnal vibe. Oh no, summer can't be over. Yes, I'm in a t-shirt. It is slightly chilly here in my flat. And there is a whole lineup of dolly heads that are a little bit sinister there. And no, your eyes are not deceiving you. I have bleached my hair. Early midlife crisis? Who knows? But I'm into it. I'm channeling 1980s True Blue Madonna. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google Papa Don't Preach. So you've seen me waggling my dolly heads at you. I call them dollies, mannequins, training heads, whatever you want to call them. I'm obviously injecting a bit of humour into this video. Strange for me to do that, but they are a very serious part of our industry, our hairdressing industry, because they help us to further our skills, if you like, and we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But I'm going to take you through some of the dolly heads that I keep here in my home. They have got their backs to me. They're not all on the table looking at me, because that would be even more sinister. So without further ado, let's get into my mannequin heads. Oh, and before I forget, if you enjoy this video, please give it a like and make sure that you're subscribed and that you hit the bell, because that makes sure that you will see everything here on my channel. Okay, let's get into my dollies. Okay, so let's start with Vanessa. I hope this isn't freaking anyone out. I hope it's not too triggering, me having my hand around the throat of my dolly. This is Vanessa, and Vanessa is a pivot point dolly. Now, you may have seen my swatches on my Instagram, my Formula Friday. My Instagram's probably popping up here somewhere, or I will pop it down below. But Vanessa is from the brand Pivot Point, the same place that the swatches are from. And Pivot Point are kind of an icon really in our industry. They supply training heads, training manuals, tripods, lots and lots of different educational equipment. They are an educational brand. Vanessa was one of my first dollies. I've had her for a very long time. She is sporting a rather squashed chignon at the moment, which you can actually find the tutorial for this here on my YouTube. So I will also link that down below, but you can just go to my videos and have a scroll through, because this chignon is one of the tutorials that I did during lockdown. I've had Vanessa, she's normally got very, very long hair. Her hair's sort of down to about here, and she's not a cheap dolly. The Pivot Point dollies are such incredible quality. I've had her for about 12 years, I think, and because she's got very long hair, she's a dolly that I would use for, how many times I'm going to say dolly in this video? She's a dolly that I would use for training with assistants, or sometimes I train makeup artists to style longer hair, or other hairdressers. And I've styled her hair like again and again and again and again, over and over and over and over. I don't wash my dolly's hair that much that I style, because I like them to have a bit of product in them, unless I'm doing something that is overloaded with product. It's a top tip actually for a mannequin head. Leave a bit of product in the hair and it makes it really easy to style if you're going to keep doing hairstyling after hairstyling. But yeah, Vanessa was one of my first ones. She's 12 years old. Here in the UK, I think she's around the £200 mark, so around $200. Like I said, she's not a cheap dolly, but she's incredibly good quality, as with all the other Pivot Point dollies. And this is not sponsored. I bought Vanessa with my own money. And I will link Pivot Point obviously down below. But a really great dolly if you want something to do lots and lots of long hair styling with. And the hair is really beautiful quality. So, you know, you want something that you can have for the rest of your career, really. And I know other hairdresser friends of mine who are slightly older than me and who've had a Vanessa for a long time, and she lasts and lasts and lasts. So that's the beautiful Vanessa with her classical chignon. So now it's time to meet the Gloss siblings. Yes, if the first dolly wasn't triggering, if Vanessa wasn't triggering, these two might be. Now this is Glen and Gladioli Gloss. Yes, I know, it's a little bit extra, but hold on, I'm just going to put Gladiola down a second. As you'll notice, I'm a big fan of alliteration, and these are siblings from a Redken Shady Hue class that I taught, from two classes actually, that I designed, built and facilitated taught for the brand. This was part of the class where I would demonstrate how to do a colour mount using Shady Hue gloss, because you can use it as a fashion colour as well, obviously. And this is 4RV here at the root, and then it's diluted down with crystal clear in 3 different increments to create this pastel colour mount really. And the 4RV dilution is a favourite of mine, which is why I'm holding on to Glenn, who is the only male sibling of the gloss family. Every time I did a class, I toured the class around the UK, and every time I did a class, we had a different dolly and a different demo. So I think I have quite a few of them. I think there was about 10 of them at one point floating around. Some of them I've cut their hair a bit shorter, etc., and done other colours to them. But Glenn and Gladioli will always be kept as they were. You can find lots more info. That's quite aggressive. You can find lots more info of the gloss siblings on my grid. You might need to scroll back a little way. And there's also other Shady Q gloss videos here on my channel. Surprise, surprise. That's the gloss siblings. Now this is Farah. Yes, Farah Foils. And Farah was with me throughout lockdown. You may have seen her on my Instagram, as I've said throughout this video, but Farah kind of came on a journey, if you like, whilst we were in lockdown together. I took her from being a natural dolly with a natural base colour to having some highlights. Then we did a face frame technique, and these are all IGTV videos. Then I root shadowed her, and then, which is here on my YouTube, I did a waving tutorial with my flat iron, with my Platinum GHDs, on how to do like an S-bend wave. So you can find all of that on here as well, that waving tutorial. And this is where, you know, I'm just going to take a moment to say that I just think mannequin heads are so important. They're such an important part of our industry and who we are as hairdressers, as hair professionals. You're going to meet a couple of dollies in a second, a couple of mannequins in a second, yes, more siblings, that I've been continuing on with after lockdown, post-lockdown. And yes, of course, it's great to share content with you guys and educational content, and that's what I'm always going to be about. But it's really helpful for me to have access to dollies like this, to mannequins like this, to enable me to learn how new products work, to refresh myself with different techniques. You know, if I have a quiet moment in the salon and I have my long-haired Vanessa dolly with me, I often get her out and I'll practice something, a classical hair up, or something I don't do very regularly in salon, just to make sure that it's all still, you know, ticking around up there. So, of course, I'm always going to make it funny, but dolly heads are such an important part. And if you've got one that you've put back in the cupboard, or, you know, they're kicking around, he or she is kicking around at home, get your tripod out, get your stand out, and refresh your memory, or try something completely new. So last, but by no means least, it's the direct dye siblings. Oh yes. This is Dee Dee and this is Derek. Now, these are the most recent dollies that I've done, and these are colour and colour placement studies that I've been doing since we've come out of lockdown. Just a second, I'm going to put Dee Dee down. I can't put a mannequin head in my lap. Still in my gym shorts as well. Whoops. How many of you are doing that out there? I bet lots of you are still wearing leisure wear or sports wear most of the day. 1 second. So, in fact, actually, let me start with the wonderful Dee Dee. So there's 2 reasons that I started these dollies. The first one is to try a placement technique. Now, there's a hairdresser called Christina Cheeseman. I will link her Instagram down below. She's insanely inspiring. I love all of her work, and she just really is a true inspiration. And she does a technique that she calls magic eye, and it's a particular placement pattern. It works in stripes. I am planning to do some more stuff, some kind of like placement videos with the footage that I already have from doing these on my Instagram. But it's been busy, and I will get round to it, I promise, and maybe I'll do something from my channel here. But that was the first study of the magic eye that I did. And then this is the second one, and I will show you Derek in a second, who's the newest one I did last week. These are using a Weller direct dye called Colour Fresh Create. And that's the other reason that I started doing these dollies, and these are part of the a dolly a month hashtag. Because I wanted to really understand a direct dye line. And I find that with hair colour, the best way to understand how it works is to use it. And swatches are a great thing. And I love a swatch, as you probably know if you've been following me here for a while. But I really wanted to understand how it worked on the head, and the richness, the intensity of the colours, and what they were like to use to do very specific placement techniques. So, I mean, I absolutely love the direct dye siblings. Let me just pop Dee Dee down 1 second. And this is Derek, who is the last dolly. I did Derek's hair last week, and you can see I basically, this is a great top tip. If you can find a level 10 dolly, this is pre-toned. I found these on the internet. Sometimes they're in stock, sometimes they're not, so I'm not going to link them down below. But I would say to you to be really careful if you look on the internet for dollies. You want to make sure that they are 100% human hair to style or to colour. There's a lot of dollies out there, mannequins that say they are and they're not. The pivot point ones, it's a whole different ball game. They're all very, very clearly marked, whether they're human hair or whether they're some of them are animal hair. But if you want a human hair dolly and you go trawling the internet, just be careful. And especially things like eBay, you can find them, but you just need to make sure they're human hair. So Derek's Tropical Bonanza, I did about a week ago now, but I split the head into segments. So there'll be something else going on this side. You could, if you wanted to, split the head into 4. So that way I get one dolly and I get 2 different placements, 2 different colorways. I think I might do a color mount on this side, but I might end up doing more Magic Eye because it's such a beautiful technique, quite time consuming. I will be putting out some more content like I've mentioned on how you do it, but it is really quite time consuming, but it is worth the sort of 4 hours it took to put that on. So that is, he says, grabbing, oh, there we go. That is the direct dye siblings, of which there are bound to be more. Hiya, it's me, Craig, from the future. Oh yes. Now I thought it might be helpful for you guys to see some movement in the hair. So I've inserted this still shot here of both Dee Dee and Derek. As I've already mentioned, both of these looks were created with Weller's Colourfresh Create, and there's tons more content on my Instagram, which as always, oh yes, is linked down below. A roundup of my ever-growing family of dollies. Send help, quick. No. No. So that's it for a swift roundup of my ever-growing mannequin collection. That's quite a sentence to get your teeth round. Now we finished with the very, very bright direct dye siblings, but don't think that you have to try out very, very bright techniques like that. As I said earlier on, they're great for all of the different foiling techniques, and there's so much content out there that's educational. There's a lot of educational content here, but there's people like Guy Tang, and there's tons and tons of stuff on the Insta as well. So if you do have a mannequin that's gathering dust in the cupboard, or you want to get a new mannequin, get hold of one and get trying new things, or maybe that hair up that you never quite feel confident in. Great opportunity to get your dolly head out. As always, thank you so much for coming back to see what I'm getting up to here on my channel. I already have another video that's filmed that I will edit and get onto my channel ASAP. You guys all take care, and don't forget, like and subscribe and all of that situation, but I will see you in the next one.